make you feel optimistic that it's going to change?
Just play. You just got to play. There's obviously a lot of things ain't going our way. Um, Nobody want to be in this position, but we're here now. All we can do is keep playing. So.
Talk about how things aren't going your team's way. When you look at this season, does it just kind of feel like this was worst case scenario? Everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong in terms of on the field play.
Yeah, it ain't a good season. Obviously we ain't getting it done. We ain't playing good enough as a team. So, obviously you want to fix those things and trying to find a way to win some games and stack something. So, but the only thing you can do now is control what you can control and just play the game. So.
And in the past, they've rotated you, with other players and stuff and all of that, and you're actually playing the highest snap percentage than you've played in since 2018. And I'm kind of wondering what your takeaways are on that, what your analysis of that is, and how important it is to you personally to be out there as much as possible.
Well, I ain't know that. We getting a lot of snaps on defense anyway. So, obviously, if I feel like I need to take a blow, we get a good rotation. But, obviously, there's been some time where turnovers and things like that, and to a situation where it's important for me to be out there. I feel like so. Just playing. So.
In terms of having to get back on the field quickly, how do you guys turn what used to be sort of qualified as a sudden change that is becoming a little bit more normal? How do you guys kind of reframe that and be prepared for that type of situation?
You just got to go out there trying to find a way to get the ball back and trying to get a ball back to the offense as many times as we can and get them opportunities. So, we can do, no matter what happens, we can get 3 and outs, we can make turnovers, make big plays, give a big spark. So, it's a team effort at the end of the day, so we got to do more.
Is from New Orleans, kind of doing a feature on him, 4 years with him.
With who?
Coach Henderson.
Oh, okay, Coach Henderson.
How would you describe him? What's he like in 4 years?
Oh, well, obviously, I got a real good, close relationship with Coach Henny. A lot of love and respect for him as a person, as a coach. I think he was able to teach me and still teaching me a lot of things. One of my regimens I do every week is, I sit down and I talk to Henny about, different schemes and different things that I can do to play better. And we've been like that for the past couple of years. So we just over the time we just grew a close relationship. I think he's a great young coach and one of the, if not the best, one of the top defensive line coaches in the National Football League, just from the things he's able to teach young guys, teach veteran guys, from technique things to be able to put us in certain positions to try to have success. So he's a guy that's always working, always trying to find a way, never satisfied. And, that's one thing that, we kind of got the same mindset towards a lot of things. So it's a lot of love and respect for Coach Henry. So.
Do you remember the first time you met him and what your first impression was?
Yeah, over the phone. I couldn't understand what he was saying. It was like, what? What did you say? Okay, Coach, all right, I see you. But obviously getting to, be around him and see his passion for the game, the way he went about it, from the drills to the film work. Just when he talk about football, sometimes you got to be like, hey, Coach, we got to do something because, he get in mode real quick. So, it's been good to have him and be a part of, building with him and, having my career with him. The past couple of years been good, been great. So.
You signed your contract this spring. You said, one really important thing to you is that the Rams are taking care of the rest of the core, Cooper and Matthew, and that was important to you when you looked at this team. Could you have envisioned that from that moment when you see that happening, that this is how the season goes?
I don't think nobody did. Nobody expected to be in a position when you're 3-6 after just coming off the season we had, but we here now. Ain't nothing you could do but just continue to play and can try to control what you can control. Can't think about then because we in a moment. We here now, so just got to try to find a way to dig ourselves out of the hole.
Hearing an injury is a part of the game. It happens, but what does the loss of Cooper Cup mean for this team
now? He's a big spark, not just to the offense, to this team. The type of person he is off the field, you never want injuries to happen, definitely to a guy like that. It's tough. We definitely going to miss him a lot. It's going to be big shoes to fill, but, my main focus is making sure that, he's good mentally and able to, do everything he can to get himself back healthy. being time with his family to, make sure he's good mentally. So prayers to him, and, nothing but love and respect for Coop. One thing I did when I seen him in the locker room after the game, I just went in there and gave him a hug and told him I love him, because I know it's tough, definitely with the season we having, and then, getting injured. So, just praying for him. We're going to miss him, but, we're going to try to hold it down for him. So.
When you're on defense and an offense is running the ball effectively, consistently, what's that like for a defense when it's kind of a constant production and they're doing
well? That's good. You kind of when things like that happen, you kind of feed off it as a team. Like when they making big plays and they got things going, you get you excited, get you pumped up on the sideline, and like a little bit more motivation to go out there and be like, this is gonna be a day where all we gotta do is keep feeding them the ball. They gonna do what they need to do. So. That's the best thing about this sport, when when everybody's clicking, everybody doing what they're supposed to do, you're able to feed off each other, and that's when teams tend to have success, and we just ain't been that team so far. So obviously, being at 3-6, so we just got to continue to try to find a way to be productive, keep trying to find ways to be better, and keep fighting. So.
Emotionally speaking, like as you mentioned, the complementary football isn't necessarily there right now. When that part is missing, and you guys do get fired up when it's clicking and it's not there, is that kind of like an emotional, like kind of feels like there's a gap there or something like that?
Well, football is an emotional sport, and it's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of adversity, a lot of things that go wrong, go good in the game, that it can affect you in all types of ways. But the only thing you can do is continue to try to fight, keep trying to play at a high level, and do what you need to do and control what you can control. So.
All set?
Yep.
always got to mess with Gary. Just part of it.
What's kind of been the most frustrating part about the season so far?
Losing. When you get a couple losses in a row, it's always frustrating. But like, it presents challenges for me. Like I find different ways to motivate myself and make people better. Like I don't know, you know me pretty well by now, but like I find different things to motivate, different things to do, different guys to motivate, different ways to push buttons on whoever it is, just to get us going. Nobody cares if you get frustrated, but it's all about for us finding ways to get the next win. And this is the next opportunity, so this is the next opportunity for us to get a win.
We talked last week about, and in the previous weeks about when you have a rookie corner who's developing and learning, you're going to get a mixed bag at times because he's learning. And then you also mentioned consciously moving to the decision to put David Long in.
Sure.
Excuse me. How do you balance inconsistency even in a veteran at times with the known inconsistency of a rookie?
I don't think David Long was inconsistency last week. I think he just got beat on a play. I think he got beaten a 4th down and 2 in a challenge opportunity, a situation we were kind of playing in dire need to get a stop there. We kind of played that way the whole second half. Didn't want to let him cross the 50. Didn't want that thing to get to a 2-score game, especially when we was able to cut it to a 1-score game. And you're losing a big-time 4th and 2. And I think those are the chances you got to take. I think both of those players got to help us down the stretch. I think they both got to play for us. I think they both will. I won a Super Bowl with David Long. I'm in the process of doing that with DK. And got to get those guys ready to go. And you got to catch those guys up to speed and get those guys playing at a higher level all the time, because I can't say they don't play at a high level, but you got to get them playing at a higher level all the time. And it's just like that with everybody. So you balance it by, catching your rookie up, learning from him, making him learn from those mistakes, doing the things that David Long can do that he can do because of the experience you have with him. And you find a way to make those things work in order to get you a win.
And then just to follow up on that, too, as it pertains to last week, this group has been, I think, rightfully proud of holding opponents to field goals.
He's good. He's good. He's good. No bet. He is good. Go.
But in this regard, touchdowns.
Yes.
So how do you approach the group, and how do you weigh some of those vocal comments with?
So last week, they came out and they got the long drive on us, and they scored the 7. Unfortunately, after that, we got a turnover right there on the 30, and it turned into 14, and that was disastrous. It's not the disaster to give up the touchdown. It's disaster to lose the game as a team together right there and give it back. We talk about playing off each other. And right there, we needed something, a long drive to get 3, something else to spark the team, to allow us to go out there and be fired up. But we had the disaster strike right there at the end of the half, had to go inside the half and go regroup. So I'm not necessarily trying to make them get 3 either. You want to stop them all around, but you certainly want to got to hold them to 3 in the red zone. You certainly got to hold up in your end of the bargain. We let that game slip away from us in the first half a little bit, was able to almost recapture it a little bit there in the second half, getting that thing down to 7. And then the big play happened, and those things go dark, go south for you pretty quickly in this league, so that's what happened.
You guys, as a team, have dealt with a lot of injuries. Have there been discussions about whether, is that related to playing so many games last year, or is it really just bad luck? Is that something you guys have discussed at all?
That will be in the excuse business, Sarah, so I'm going to stay out of that world. Mike Thomas used to tell me a long time ago, I get this bag in my office. You can go get one of those excuses out that bag and bring it back to me and tell me about it. But we won't be in the excuse-making business. Our job is to win football games, and we got to go out there and find a way to do that this week.
Can I rephrase that? What are the challenges of, after you play a long season, including winning a Super Bowl, what are the challenges then of going into the next
It's a nice job, Sarah. She's going to make me answer this question. So the challenges are obviously getting the team back healthy, getting the team back ready to go, finding a nice balance between rest and preparation. And apparently at this point right now, we haven't done a great job of that. But we still got time, and this has got to be the week. It's running out of time, as Gary's going to say in here in a few minutes. But those are things you got to do right now. You got to get it going. Just to be honest, I know you're coming, Gary. As soon as I said that, I could just feel Gary. There it is. There's my hard question of the day. How much time do you have, Raheem?
Raheem, when you talk about motivating players, do you have sort of like a mental Rolodex, certain things that or how does that work for you?
You know, it's not premeditated. You know, I try to drive the guys based on what drives them. I try to motivate people based on what I think they need that day. Just in general, you know, for most of us, it's competition. A lot of us are motivated through our competitive natures and the things that we want to do out there in the field, whether it be practice. Sometimes you got to motivate them within the classroom. Sometimes you got to stimulate them within one-on-one meetings and offsets here and there. And sometimes you got to motivate coaches based on what they're doing really well. A lot of times it's easy to go tell people what they're doing wrong, but sometimes it's good to go tell people what they're doing right. And a little bit of motivation is based and built off of that from a player and a coach's standpoint.
Jalen shared with us last Friday that that you had taught him something last week
Sure.
that he had not learned before. Can you share a little bit of that?
No. Then it wouldn't be special. But in all seriousness, I did see that last week based on the 9,000 people that sent me that Jordan's tweet, I think it was. I don't know what it was. She put something out there and they sent it to me. But obviously it was passionate talk from Jalen. And obviously we got a chance to sit in our office and we were able to go over some things that he can do better. We were able to go some things that I like to see him do moving forward, how he can challenge some things a little bit more for himself. And that's kind of the motivation that you talk about. You know, Jalen wants to win in the worst way. And the best way he can show it is when he comes to my office trying to figure out a different way to make us be better at the highest level. And like, those are the things that frustrate him and gives him satisfaction to be able to come in the building each day as well. You can't let those guys get bored. You know, you can't get tired of the mundane. You can't get tired of this process. You can't get tired of what we do. We all love what we do. This is definitely a privilege. And to be able to sit in front of these great players and these great coaches and be able to motivate versus these great teams every single week is something that I love and thrive for and like look forward to each single week, no matter what the circumstances are.
Once you win a Super Bowl, do you maybe get a different perspective of just how hard that is and how much has to go right for you to reach that point?
There's a chance for me to brag. I mean, this is my second Super Bowl. No, no. It is. I mean, this league is nuts. You know, like everybody but Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are absolutely dying to get Super Bowls. You know, like it is the hardest thing in the world to do. Like, and for us, you know, that's how we feel. And like, I think we all want to go do those things and go do that. And like, I'm not going to concede that it's over. I don't care what you guys say or write, or whatever the case may be, until it's over. But we're going to go out there and fight to get that thing done because that is the best feeling in the world, Sarah. There's nothing like it. It's nothing like holding that Lombardi Trophy in front of millions, you know, cussing in front of fans at parades. It is what it is. Sometimes.
Couple more, yes. Raheem, I'll ask. So, how much time do you have?
This is it, Gary. This is the week. You know, people keep letting us in. Obviously, the schedule dictates how much time you got. You know, obviously, your division opponents dictate how much time you got. They win and we lose, there won't be much time, right? So, like, it's all determined based on that. But for us, man, it's more than that. It's about us going to play and execute our game at the highest level that we can. And we still haven't done it on defense. You know, we still haven't done it as a team. And those are the things that has to motivate us. You know, like I'm motivated today by today's practice. I can't wait to get out and practice and get these guys to run around because, again, it'll be the first time we get to run around at full speed after a loss. And that's always the best feeling, the best way to flush yourself that system and get ready to go. So it starts this week, man. We got to take this long flight to New Orleans, wake up early in the morning, use all those excuses, and go try to get us a win.
And having been on both sides as an offensive coach and a defensive coach, on offense, when your team is running the ball well and just, you know, imposing its will or whatnot on a defense, what does that do for you? And as a defense, when an opponent is doing that to you, what's that like?
Which one you want me to answer first?
Both. You know.
It is miserable on defense. You know, when your defense is playing, they can't stop the run. That's a rough, long day, hard day to try to find a way to get a win. And usually you don't. On offense, when it's happening, coaching the receivers is pretty frustrating, calming those guys down to let them guys know that they're not going to get a touch or their touches may be limited. But when you run the ball in football and you have the ability to do that, it always makes everything a little bit easier. I could think, you know, you always make me reflect on all the people that I've been with. But, you know, you can't let the quarterback turn around and hand it off. That's the easiest way to get down the field, guys. That's easy. You got to make them throw it. That's the hard way. You know, just to break it down in the simplest form of Monty Kiffin, I mean, that's just what I always reflect on and how it goes, you know, like, and it's the truth until this day. And if you can turn around and hand the ball off from a quarterback standpoint, you could be a pretty good, effective, efficient offense. If you can't, it's going to be a harder, longer day, but you can still find ways to win. and you can still find ways to stop them and get wins, even if you can't stop the run, by getting turnovers, doing things that you need to do in order to get that done.
Coach Henderson is from New
I'm
Orleans.
coming.
Coach Henderson is from New Orleans.
Yes, he is. I hear it every day.
Hey, do you have a Coach Henderson impersonation as well?
I don't. You know, he was only established in 1883 from dog work, as you guys know. And Coach Henderson, we were working together for a while. I got plenty of impressions of him. He does not have any censored imitations that I can give you, so we won't. But he's definitely going home, and we definitely want to get Coach Henderson a win in New Orleans because he deserves it. You know, the amount of work he puts into it. Talking about motivating those coaches and the people that you're around and being motivated by coaches, he's certainly one of those people that do that for me every single day.
In terms of the sort of historic rates at which the league is enjoying the run game in this particular year, and because within this scheme and sort of the more popularized evolution of this scheme, you understand how teams best want to attack that.
Sure.
Did you see this coming in terms of the historic success rate of run plays, pretty much league-wide?
Joe, that's kind of been almost coming for a couple of years now. You know, and it's not just with this defense; it's with what's happening from college football on the way up, high school football really on the way up. It's becoming more pass prevalent. You know, like when Gary was a quarterback at Bemidji High, he was a wing T quarterback. Probably carried the ball 16 times a day and all of those things. And that's just the nature of what it's been. But it's become more of a pass-happy league, Jordan, and it's become pass-happy driven to our league, and it's moving up forward. So now it kind of goes backwards. You know, when people try to stop the pass, you open up some of the run lanes, and Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay and some of these young guys that were able to innovate those things and start the run game to come back, the Todd Gurley's of the world, and people we can remember bringing that run game back. And now you got to figure out a way to stop that thing while still stopping this pass-happy league. So you knew that was coming. You know, being a part of this defense and being with the Eric Henderson certainly prides himself in having the ability to do that with the guys up front. So you can focus on the back end and stop those guys on the back end with the pass. So all that stuff is the ever-changing game that we play called football, and that's what makes it. Every year you got to be able to evolve, ask questions, talk to different people, learn every single day. And when you stop wanting to do that, that's when it's probably time for you to go. I'm out. See you guys.
What's up, guys? Oh, it's going good.
Liam, how do you guys adjust to not having Cooper Kupp as far as how that impacts the offensive game?
Yeah, obviously a big loss in terms of a guy that's just done so many good things for this organization right now, and was playing at a pretty high level. Obviously, a ton of production over the course of this year so far. That's got to be done by committee. It's got to be done by a group of guys that can take on this challenge in a way of an opportunity for them to come in and step up in a big-time spotlight and a big moment for us in their careers and in our situation as an offense. Some guys need to step up. They will. It's going to be a big opportunity for some guys that are going to be able to play in a moment that they may not have been in before. But I do feel good about Brandon Powell, Ben Skoranek, Van Jefferson, Allen Robinson, those guys, coming in to make an impact, and see what Lance McCutcheon, those guys, Tutu Atwell. I mean, we got a committee of guys that really need to step up, and they're taking this thing, very seriously to come and do that.
Kind of along those lines, you were kind of in a similar circumstance in 2018 when you were coaching the Steelers as far as the injury that Kupp had. I guess, what do you remember about that time as far as like how you guys adjusted and figured things out?
Yeah, Josh Reynolds ended up stepping up in a big way that year, and he was somebody who was our fourth at the time, but he was really like a 3B in a lot of ways with the amount of production and time on task that we had with Josh. So a little bit different in the way that just a little bit more continuity with, at the time, Cooks, Robert Woods, and Josh Reynolds had with Jared and some of the continuity that was built. And so a little bit different, probably, those three were the mainstay. Kadero Hodge got involved that year a little bit as well. But it's truly going to be, done by a number of different guys that are ready to step up.
When you guys have done that, when you guys have been able to sustain drives, and historically with this offense, what they like to do is mix in tempo, mix things up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
How difficult then is it when you're already reassigning somebody's responsibilities to a group to continue to have those in your toolkit when you don't want to maybe make substitutions?
Oh, yeah, extremely difficult, in terms of trying to be specific at times about what receivers or players are in the game at the right times. And then you'd like to be able to take advantage of tempo and going fast to either trap them in a defense that they're in, personnel grouping, momentum, all those things go into play when you're talking about tempo. And it is difficult to do when you just have a bunch of different guys playing. Are we putting them in the position to be successful by going fast? Is that something that they come 100% know and are aware of, all those plays that are on that menu? There's so many different things that go into changing personnel groupings, changing receivers, all those different things. It does limit you in a little bit of ways in terms of going fast.
Liam, is Van Jefferson ready to make that next league?
Totally. Yes. I feel like Van this is a great op for Van. It's a great game for him to be able to come in. He's had a couple weeks of really getting his legs back. He had, building off the success of last game. I know it was in a different time, but to have Van have the success that he had in the end of that game the other day, when you really look at things in perspective and, you lose the game, couldn't be more frustrated, couldn't be more down as a coach. I'm sure a lot of players were. And then you walk into Van Jefferson's locker and he's in tears. And you're like, man, he's bummed out about the game, and you're like, no, actually, he's really happy and proud of himself to be in the situation that he was in after what he's gone through and endured over the last couple months. Really kind of puts things in perspective at times, especially in that moment where you feel brutal, you feel awful, and then you're like looking at a guy who's just can't help but hold back emotions for what he's been through. So really feel like this is going to be a great week for Van.
Kind of a similar scenario for Kyron Williams with 2 injuries. He's out for rounds, but what do you see from him in his first completed game?
Just his play demeanor. His play demeanor, his enthusiasm for the game, his involvement in the plan, his energy on the sidelines, his engagement, all those things that you look for from a veteran player, right? He ends up kind of bringing in some ways. Now, does he need to clean some things up? Absolutely. Had a couple busts at the end of that game when he was in. Had a couple mental errors when we were going fast on tempo and trying to get some things going. But he definitely brings a little bit of some juice, and it's really his communication, his energy. He's a guy that over-communicates things, which is great to have one of those guys do that. So definitely mature beyond his years, needs to be a little bit more on the screws on a few things, but excited about him moving forward.
You guys are last in the league in rushing.
Yep.
And you started that last game with a long drive. 8 times you ran it in 13 plays, 5 different ball carriers.
Totally.
And then it appeared as if you guys just abandoned that or went away from it.
Yeah.
Why and why wouldn't you guys try to establish more of an effective running?
A few things with with the Perkins plan that we had, they ended up kind of zero blitzing us on one of them that we ended up not being able to run the play. And so they dictated a little bit of terms in terms of a few of the things that we were trying to activate with the Perkins plan, a few of those things that, we needed to adjust on the fly for. Was it something that we were prepared to fix at halftime that was worth the time on task at the time? We thought we can continue to run work our normal offense and run the football still throughout that, as opposed to using some of the Perkins plan. Things that we had available just weren't really fitting for what they were doing. Did we get away from the run game too early and all that? Yeah, maybe we did. It's just the flow of the game. So, it's something that we need to improve on for sure.
When you look at, Coach kind of made it like he's expecting and cautiously optimistic that Matthew will play this week. If he does, is this a week where you would consider having 3 quarterbacks? And if not, who would be the third in the worst case scenario?
Yeah, I think that's, we're still trying to see about Matthew right now because we just didn't do too much yesterday from a physical standpoint. Yeah, the mental, we were able to do some good things above the neck yesterday, that all 3 of those guys were able to kind of get some of those reps in terms of the mental reps. Today, physically, we'll be able to see those guys move around a little bit, what we can handle physically and mentally from Matthew, John, and Bryce. So that's something that all 3 of those guys are available and ready to go. If you were to ask them, they'd all be preparing as if they're the starter. I mean, in terms of the way that they handle their business anyway. Not sure on the full 3 right now. We do kind of more of the actives later in the week, but you can bet your butt Bryce will be ready to go if his time, if his number's called.
Have you guys, caveat obviously being that injuries have been unprecedented for this group, but how do you guys become more efficient on early downs, particularly in the run phase?
Yeah, it's the negatives. We end up going, if you end up going negative or 0, it's just tough to gain confidence running it, especially if you run it on first down or P and 10 and you're now 2nd and 10. Well, as a play caller, as an offense, sometimes you're like, well, we could have just thrown it and got to this same exact down and distance. So you go back and forth on some of those things. You're going to hand it off or you're going to throw it, and Matthew's pretty good, and we got a couple of receivers that need to continue to step up. But if you're going to throw it, or you're going to hand the ball off and get 0. So it's one of those things that in the flow of the game, you have to go with what's working. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I know that sounds pretty simple, but it's definitely something we want to continue to work on. But we're also not going to bang our heads against the wall and run for 0. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. That was easy.